guys, and welcome to the CFC Chat YouTube channel. This is the review of the West Brom game, and we are actually recording this right after the game has ended, so emotions may be running high, but we do have to get it out of our system because that was an appalling performance, and something which absolutely cannot be justified, and not a single player can justify that performance. And helping me basically gather my thoughts today is Matthew. How are you today, Matthew? Of course, he did do the live stream, which I couldn't join. Hopefully you did get that. But I mean, what's up, man?
Yeah, well, big stream, guys. It was a very good. We had up to 25 people at once watching the stream, even though they were all bantering Chelsea. But horrible game. But Charity FC. Charity FC. That's what we say.
Exactly, Charity FC. I mean, I was just looking it up, and we 32% of West Brom's goals in the Premier League this season have come against us. That is nearly a third of their goals. I mean,
I heard that it was 8 out of 21. 8 out of 21 is from Chelsea.
I think it's 8 out of 25.
Oh,
I think, yeah. So 8 out of the 25 goals that they've scored in the entire season have come against us. I mean, I don't know. I mean, last season, Bournemouth went down and I was finally like, we probably don't have a bogey team anymore, and then West Brom come up instead of them. And
yeah, it's 3-3, now it's 5-2. Like,
exactly. I mean, where should we start? I mean, initially I thought it was an open game in the early minutes, and of course Pulisic got the goal from that Alonso free kick, and then everything just went haywire. I mean, what do you think about Thiago Silva's red card? Because I saw a lot of reactions on Twitter saying that it probably didn't warrant a second yellow, but do you think it was justified?
Honestly, the first was 100% yellow. He stopped them on goal, so that was there. But I think the second one, I don't think he meant to. Obviously, he didn't mean it. He was going for a block, but it was a stupid decision by him. He shouldn't have jumped in it. I definitely think it was a mistake. I think it could have been gone to VAR or discussed a bit, but the ref just went straight for the yellow. And I think at the end of the day, it might have been a yellow, but at the same time, I'm not sure. But I think it couldn't have been a yellow, but that's up to the ref to say. But obviously, as soon as he went off, just went downhill from there. But
yeah, absolutely. I think one of the main reasons was, and this was an actually really interesting point which I read on Twitter, in fact, is that this way we set up, right, is so unique because it hides the drawbacks of the midfield, right? We don't have a very balanced midfield, and because we lost an important player there, I mean, if we do have 3 defenders at the back, then the drawbacks of our midfield are covered, but because they weren't there, it showed how imbalanced the midfield and the side actually is. And West Brom took full advantage of that. Of course, Callum Robinson came off the bench and scored a brace. I've never hated any football player more than I've hated Callum Robinson.
He was shushing. Like, who was he shushing? There was no one in the audience. I don't know what he was doing there.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think all 5 of his Premier League goals have come against us. I don't even know what to say to that at this point. I mean, it was just appalling. But I don't think we can take any positives out of this one. Like, not even a single player had a good game. What do you think?
I think the only positive to come out from this is just Jorginho. Just like, we can now reconsider him, and because I think I said at the start of the game, 30 seconds, I said I love Jorginho, he's a good player, but I think this is not the style for him. He should not be playing this game. We need fast pace and Mount on. We need Mount doing this fast passes, not Jorginho. He grabs the ball and he stops and he turns. Like, that's a good style, but it's just not for Chelsea. It's not for Chelsea. It's not what Chelsea is. And I think he's a fantastic player. He's great, but I don't think he's the right player for Chelsea. And I think Chelsea need to reconsider getting him sold.
Yeah, I think he's a good player, but he's a limited player. I think that's the issue with Jorginho, because he's excellent at what he does, but he was so ineffective today and cost the team. Actually, I think it was his errors in probably all 3 of the goals that we conceded first up, and Thiago Silva getting both the yellow cards to bail out Jorginho. In fact, the second one, of course, was a little bit reckless, but he did what he did to bail Jorginho out, and I think it was really I can't even sum it up in words. I mean, it was Bakayoko 15-16,
Yeah.
Bakayoko 17-18 levels performance. It was very, very pathetic. And the worst part was that he stayed on for 70 minutes. I mean, I think, yeah, go right ahead.
Oh
man.
yeah, I was just like when Christensen was coming out, I'm like, oh, I said on the stream, this is easy. Jorginho is off, 100%. You know, we need, and then Ziyech comes off. I was like, okay, kind of decision. But when Mount came on for Pulisic, that's when I got frustrated. There
Absolutely.
was
I
no
think,
go on, yeah.
yeah. I think Tuchel got a lot of things wrong today.
Mm-hmm.
100%. I mean, from the selection of the lineup, I think, you know, you look at Pulisic, Ziyech and Werner as a front three, and I think that all of their best, qualities are basically well suited to, sides that press a little bit, play a little bit of a high line. But, none of them are that physical presence which we need against a side a side like West Brom, basically. I mean, could you imagine playing that front three against Burnley? Could you imagine playing that front three against Sheffield United? I just don't think that was the right front three to begin with, in fact. And since then, his decisions have been very questionable. Taking Pulisic off for Mount once again, I didn't know what to make of that substitution, honestly.
I saw that, and I just remind me of Lampard, like these, like just random kind of subs. Like I think they need to be more examined and more like in depth, because when Pulisic came off and then Ziyech came off, there was no wingers, and we kept going wide to. Kovacic kept going every ball to James, but there was no one to support James because there was no wingers. So I think that's something Tuchel needs to just reconsider and just examine more for substitutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what he said in the press conference, right? In the post-match press conference, he's like, they needed this defeat to basically learn the coaching staff. I think we did have a bit of we had an excellent run under Tuchel, the unbeaten run, of course, but so many times we have been a little bit, I wouldn't say lucky, but we have been conservative, and that has helped us. But this game, I think it really showed us where our weak spots are, and it really showed where Tuchel's weak spots are as well. And I think everyone together as a whole has to take the blame for this one, because I mean, I don't want to pinpoint one single player. Of course, you can mention a couple of players, but we don't want to be slandering them or abusing them. I think as a whole, the team just didn't do enough. Every single person associated with Chelsea Football Club today did not do enough.
Definitely, and as you said at the start, like there's no positive. So like when there's no positive, no one's done well. Everyone was all over the place. I think we need to reconsider this before Porto, because that's going to be very, very important as well.
So how do you think this is actually going to affect Porto? Because I think this could be an interesting question, right? I mean, do you think that is probably going to demoralize us, and we'll go to Porto thinking that, on the back foot, and, give them a little bit more respect compared to what we would have probably given if we had won the game? Or do you see this, we see this as a sort of blip under Thomas Tuchel and go there, wanting to correct things and absolutely play them out of the park?
I mean, I said from the start, Porto is going to be a difficult team. Like, they bet Juventus. I think people underestimate how good of a team Juventus is. Like, this season, they've got Cristiano Ronaldo, they've got Chiellini, they've got big players, big names. They haven't been playing too well this season, Juventus, but they're still a very big team. And I think Porto, they've done well. They don't have too many big players, but they've done well to get to this level. And I think even if we still bet West Brom now 3-4-0, we still need to go 100% for Porto. No FA Cup starting Kepa, no second, first team, everyone on. And we play better in the Champions League for some reason. So I hope we get the win for that.
Yeah, absolutely. We just need to put this performance behind us. I think, at the end of the season, when you're looking back at the season review, this should be a game we should look back and laugh at, and not one which should probably leave us thinking, what if we had won that game? Because if you look at the table now, that puts us in a very bad spot for Champions League qualification.
It does, and we're fourth. West Ham are like 3 points behind us. So we've now dropped points because there's no points this week, and West Ham are going to get points, and then they're going to start getting over us. Now that's good for Liverpool, Arsenal, Leicester. So
even Everton, I think we're 5 points behind Everton,
well.
But they have 2 games in hand.
And we're versing teams like Palace, then we're versing City, then we're versing Fulham. So we're versing even teams in this game. Like, this can put us anywhere. Like, people are saying, oh, we're going to beat Crystal Palace. Like, looking at it now, if we can't beat bottom of the ladder West Brom, how are we going to beat Crystal Palace? But yeah, that's something we got to think about as well.
Yeah, should be really interesting. I think it's really set up for the rest of the season. But anyway, I think that's probably it for the review. I mean, we
gotta cut
yep,
down.
sure.
I said on Twitter, I said this, and I had to delete it, but I'm gonna say it again. I've been thinking the last couple of games. This question for you now as well. I don't see Azpilicueta as, I think, a future Chelsea captain. I think he's been fantastic. He's done his work. I think just this season, this last 3-4 games, it just hasn't been him. And I think, coming from myself, who is the captain and who probably know a lot of, when I see captain, I see leadership, I see communications, I see, like dedication. I was watching today, I did not see any of that. And, I don't think there should be a replacement. I'm not saying get him out, but I think, again, another thing to reconsider for Chelsea is, could there possibly be a backup for, Aspie if he doesn't start, like a good captain? Like, that's something we need. But I think in the future, like even possibly next year, I don't think Aspie's going to be the captain of Chelsea.
That's really interesting. I think you make an interesting point there. I mean, I've been saying this all season. Azpilicueta isn't the most vocal, feared sort of person, right? And I mean, I'm not saying that's all a captain's job is. A captain's job actually has a lot to do, with the off-field events and off-field activities and stuff like that too. But at the same time, if you look at Azpilicueta, he doesn't radiate that leadership, like you mentioned, in fact. And I don't know, I'm just not convinced by his captaincy. I mean, I won't go so far as to say I'm not convinced by his captaincy, but he has a wealth of experience, and I think that is one of the major factors of why he's the captain of the club.
I mean, yeah, even we're in a time where captains, they're not really too like vocal. Like, look at Aubameyang, I mean, Maguire even. They're not too vocal and dedicated. I mean, Maguire is, but like the person I look at as captain is Connor Cody, and I think he's a perfect captain. I think. And, even though they're not that good, he always gives 100%. He's fantastic off the pitch, fantastic on the pitch. And I'm not saying to bring him to Chelsea, but I'm just saying he's captain. How he captain is just unbelievable. And I look at that as what to follow as a captain.
Yeah, I think the only person who fits that role with all the qualities that you described is Mason Mount. And he's captained Chelsea in the FA Cup twice, I think once, which was Lampard's last game. And I think even the last game in which we beat, who did we beat?
Sheffield.
Morecambe, was it?
Oh, Morecambe.
Oh, yeah. So I think even against Sheffield United, I think he was the captain, wasn't he? Yeah, so I think that so Mount has won the captain's armband a couple of times, and he fits the role. I think that's the only person that I can think of at the moment who knows what it feels like. And he came off the bench and got a goal today as well. He wasn't excellent, but you could see that he was trying. He was taking shots from distance, although they didn't necessarily trouble the keeper. Even that one free kick where everyone was expecting a cross and then he went for goal himself. Right, I mean, he has that desire, and I think you look at Declan Rice at West Ham United as well. Although the official club captain is actually Mark Noble, because Mark Noble doesn't play that often, Declan Rice wears the armband. So probably something like that next season. I don't know, but
that's hopefully what I said. I said Mount would be a replacement, but I think. Because when you're a captain, you got to focus on other players as well, not just yourself. And I think Mount at the moment needs to focus more on himself before getting to that level to focus on everyone else too. So I think a couple of years he'll be perfect for that role. But I think right now Thiago Silva, if he gets a little bit more kind of into the team and a bit more like vocal, he's still fantastic. But I think if he just needs to up his skill a little bit, he'll be a perfect Chelsea captain, even though he's captain the biggest French team in the world. But I think he'd be a great captain.
Yeah, I think I'd agree too. I mean, he's done so many likable things, right? It's the little things that matter the most. The way he celebrated when we scored against Atletico Madrid from the stands. And, if you see his Instagram stories, he constantly watches the women's team's games as well and supports them. So it's those little things that make all the difference. And I think I'd agree with you there. I think Thiago Silva, if he's given the contract extension, I think it's not been confirmed yet, but when he does get it, I think he could be captain's material, like you mentioned.
And yeah, obviously no slander to Azpilicueta. Obviously, he's still a fantastic player. I still, he's still a Chelsea player, still been a Chelsea legend. But I just think, if we want to win, we want to get these top 4, we need to improve. And I think that's something we're going to possibly improve on soon.
Yep, exactly. I mean, yeah, I think he's a legend without doubt. But if you're looking for someone to scream at you in the dressing room after that first half performance, is it Azpilicueta? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yep, that's 5-2. Wrapping up.
That's the game. That's football. That's the Premier League. And I think we end on that note.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just hope we can put this behind us and head to Porto, with a complete clean slate, and hopefully come out of that with a good result, so that we do not have to think about this game anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I think that's been our time. Matthew, thank you for joining me today. I think we do get along really well for this. We definitely do. Hopefully we do a few more reviews in the future as well. But guys, remember to leave your comments about your thoughts on the game, basically. Remember to keep it respectful though, and hit the subscribe button as well. We did hit 100 subscribers, which we're really thankful for. Hopefully this is the start and we can get a lot more. But until next time, guys, see you.
See ya.